Hey guys, welcome back to I'm Just a Fan. It's your host Ben, and today we're going to be talking about the whole Juan Soto sweepstakes right now. Just, what would it look like with him on each team that's interested in him, and just my overall thoughts on the whole situation. Before we get into this video, I'd really appreciate if you give this video a like, drop any comments down below if you have any thoughts on this, and if you like sports content or baseball content in general, feel free to subscribe. Also, check out my TikTok. I'm going to link it in my bio, and I will also put it up on the screen right now. All that would be greatly appreciated. Now let's get into the video. So Juan Soto, he is, again, of course, a free agent. Many people know about this. This is something that has been pretty much the main talking point for the last, I would say, month-ish, pretty much since the World Series ended. I mean, it's been a talking point before that even, but since the World Series has ended, it's pretty much been the main talking point in baseball. Where is this guy going to go? Now, there was rumored to be a ton of teams were interested in him: the Mets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, the Tampa Bay Rays even. But of course, you can take a couple of those names with a grain of salt. Mostly Tampa Bay. I thought my Phillies would have potentially been a bidder, but the more and more news that has come out is shown that they are not going to be a player in this, but that's okay. I didn't really expect the Phillies to be there anyways, but let's focus on the teams that are in the sweepstakes. Juan Soto's free agent market appears to be escalating rapidly, with multiple teams believed to have offered him a contract in the range of $700 million in the total value. Per John Heyman of the New York Post, the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the New York Mets are all thought to have made the four-time All-Star an offer around the $700 million mark. These are 4 of the 5 teams that have been frequently connected to Soto throughout the process. The Los Angeles Dodgers are the other, but they were expecting a little bit more of a market, or they were expecting Soto's market to not be as high as he was hoping, but that's just not the case. So I don't think they're going to be in this race for much longer. Now, let's talk about every single team here and just kind of fully get a understanding of like how this would work and just how this would help that team going forward. Let's start with the New York Yankees. Not much to really say about them just because we just saw Soto play with the New York Yankees for the last year. It was a pleasure to watch. Was one of the main headlines of last year just as a whole for the season. I mean, you have him and Judge batting back and forth. It's pretty good stuff to see. And obviously, though it was a weak AL, Soto did help elevate the Yankees to the World Series. They did not win, of course, but it's clear as day to see how much of an impact he had just on the Yankees. I think going forward, if the Yankees were to offer to him, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. My only concern for them is they do have other glaring holes that they need to address, potentially starting pitching, especially now that they lost Clay Holmes yesterday. They also are going to have to address the first base position with no more Rizzo. So there's a couple things to potentially tackle, but I think if the Yankees do want to bring him back, I still don't think it's the worst thing in the world because, again, this kid is 26. He's going to be around for hopefully the 15-year deal he might potentially be getting, and he is arguably on pace to be the best hitter of all time, which you can't understate. So keeping him in New York with Judge as well, I think that's just very good for the franchise. Again, you're going to have to eat it a little bit financially, and you might not be able to address everything, but depending on how the Yankees farm system plays out in these next couple of years, it could be worth it. Next, the New York Mets, another attractive offer for Soto. He would not have to leave New York City. And of course, Steve Cohen, who has the $20 billion, he will not be worried about paying for Soto. And I think Soto would obviously be a good fit for the Mets as well. Again, he would be batting, I think, either in front of or behind Lindor, but that's a great pair right there. You also have Vientos, some other young talent within that lineup. And again, they're going to continue to spend money like they did again with the Clay Holmes signing. They might, well, I would assume that they get even more people, to be honest. We just got to see how much Cohen is willing to pay out, especially if he does end up getting Soto. But I think the Mets, realistically, in my opinion, are the favorite to get Soto right now. They just have the most money. Cohen has the money to offer this guy. No other owner has this much money to pay. And I just think, realistically, it makes sense because even if he doesn't go to the Yankees, he doesn't have to leave New York. Yes, he goes to Queens, but come on, he can still live in New York. So I think the Mets are the favorite because, again, Cohen has all the money. Not saying the Yankees don't have the money. They do, of course, but $20 billion is another playing field that a lot of owners can't really say that they're at. So I think Soto will realistically go there because also, again, he's made it very clear his motives for this are to get the most money. So we will see how that goes, but I think, in my opinion at least, he is a favorite to be a Met. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Red Sox, I'm almost just going to pair them up together just because I feel like they're kind of in the same situation. They're two franchises that have not been as good as their fans would have liked. Toronto's been a little bit better the last couple of years. The Red Sox have just stopped spending money, and I think their owner is starting to realize that they're losing the fan base a little bit. So he's trying to maybe make up for it with this offer to Soto. But again, the Red Sox would need this, number one, because it brings a lot of attention back to your team. It also really helps that lineup. That team has not been very good the last couple of years. They've been okay, but it hasn't been anything to where they really should have been the last couple of years. Yes, the last time I think they were good was, I think it was 21 when they were in the ALCS, but they lost to Houston in 6. It would be a big signing for Boston, would potentially get their fans back on board. It would almost remind me of my Philadelphia Phillies when they signed Bryce Harper. Maybe it's the start of a new era if they were to get Soto. Now, with the Blue Jays, that one's interesting because, again, they've just been short on some of these big free agents. The one that really comes to mind for me is the fact that they didn't get Ohtani last year. They were offering a lot to him as well. It just didn't go their way. Probably is going to be happening here with Soto as well. There's still talent on that Blue Jays team, but again, they took a step back last year that their fans didn't want to see. But I think Soto could represent a little bit of hope going forward just because he is that good of a bat. You'd be able to play him with Bo. You'd be able to play him with Vladdy. So there's some stuff there, but I don't think either of those moves realistically are going to happen. I think if he's going to stay, he's going to be in New York. We just have to see which team he ends up going to. And last is, again, they were saying it's realistically not going to happen now, but let's say hypothetically he was to go to the Dodgers. That lineup would be even more stacked than it already is. It would be honestly a pain to watch just because selfishly I want the Phillies to have an easier path through the NL, and that just is not the case right now. I mean, the NL is just so stacked. You have the Dodgers, you have the Padres, you have the Mets, you have the Phillies, you have the Brewers. Yes, they don't win a ton in the playoffs, but they're still a threat. You have the Diamondbacks, you have the Braves. I mean, I could go on and on. There's a lot of talent in this conference, and it's just, if he was to go to LA, it would honestly suck from a viewing perspective. But if he wants to go to LA, he could. I think he's going to stay in New York. And again, I think he'll be a Met. I just wanted to tackle this real quick, just make a new little video. I think this situation has been pretty interesting. I think it hopefully should be wrapped up by next week. We'll see how things go, though. Overall, it should be a fun situation to continue to monitor. Again, I think he's going to be a New York Met. But if I had a choice, I would like to see him be a Yankee. Selfishly, because I don't want him to be in the NL, specifically in my division, playing against my Phillies. But also, I just think him and Judge was a great pairing. And I also just think he looked great in the pinstripes for the Yankees. So a couple things to look at there, but overall, we'll see how this situation goes. And of course, you guys know I will be making a video when that signing is released. And yeah, that's all I got for today for the video. If you like this video, like I said, feel free to give it a like. Any thoughts, leave them down below. If you like my type of content, feel free to subscribe. And again, remember to check out my TikTok. I post there more than on YouTube, to be honest. It's just a little easier to make videos. But yeah, that's all I got. And if you made it this far in the video, I really appreciate it. Peace, guys.